What's up, guys? Mickle here, and one of the biggest questions we face going into 2024 is whether or not we will see an end to the Ripple SEC case. Well, guys, in this video, I want to give you my thoughts on that, whether or not this case is going to settle, and I actually want to backpack my answer off of a brand new interview we saw from Brad Garlinghouse earlier today, where he was specifically talking about the ongoing litigation between Ripple and the SEC. Guys, this is something you're not going to want to miss. I also want to talk about two big events taking place tomorrow that could have a huge impact on the cryptocurrency industry, and some very interesting news around Tether. Guys, a lot of people said Tether would be the thing to create the Black Swan in 2024. I want to talk about that, so make sure to stick around for this whole thing. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. If you enjoy these videos, make sure to take a quick second to like this video and subscribe to my channel. It's really going to help me out so much. Also, if you ever need a good place to buy some XRP or the Flare token, make sure to check out my favorite exchange Uphold down in the description of this video. Yesterday, we talked about how Flare was on a massive run. Well, it's on a nice little pullback today. You can buy Flare using Uphold. The link is in the description of this video. With that said, though, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So, guys, I just want to start this video out and go over a very interesting narrative around Tether, because going into 2024, there was a lot of people extremely bearish on the cryptocurrency market. A lot of people said Bitcoin was going to 5,000, Bitcoin was going to 3,000, XRP was going to 11 cents, and the big thing they said that was going to cause us to get there was a Black Swan scenario. Now, the Black Swan I kept on hearing coming up over and over again was Tether. So many people said that Tether was going to create a Black Swan in the market, and it was going to be the last big pullback before a utility bull run. Well, guys, I want to give you my thoughts on this because we just got some very interesting news around Tether that I think everyone needs to see. So, guys, the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that Tether has now been through 2 to 3 bear markets and has never failed. We have seen a lot of different cryptocurrency companies in this industry fail, and companies no one thought would fail. Things like FTX, Terra Luna. Now, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, they were sketchy. They had their reasons why people thought they were going to fail. But a lot of people in the general cryptocurrency community really thought those were good companies, and they thought Tether was a bad company, and they failed far before Tether. So I just want to point out that Tether really has weathered the storm so far. It has been through bear markets. It has been alive a lot longer than other companies that people trusted more than Tether. So Tether really has stood the test of time. The other thing we got today that I think is very important to pay attention to is actually one of the money managers that manages Tether's assets. Howard Lutnick, who's the CEO of Fitzgerald, said, "I manage their assets. From what I have seen, and we did a lot of work, they have the money they say they have. We have seen it, and they have it." So kind of a weird quote right there, but he's literally saying he's seen the money. We have helped them manage the money. It's there. No one thinks it's there, but we have seen it. We know it's there. So, guys, this is just another data point that says the Tether FUD probably isn't real. Through bear market, through bull market, Tether has survived. And I know there's a lot of sketchy things behind Tether, the company, but the fact that we now have third parties coming out and saying, yeah, we have seen the money, we know the money's there, kind of shows Tether might not be in the dire situation that a lot of people have been saying they are. Just something to point out, it seems like to me, throughout this entire past couple months in this past year, we have seen bullish narratives rather than bearish narratives. In the bear market, it seems like we could not get away from the bad news. Companies were collapsing, frauds were being exposed, regulators were cracking down, and everything was bad news for the industry. But now what we're seeing is this industry is dodging bullet after bullet. First, a digital currency group news that they weren't going bankrupt. Now this news that Tether actually has the money they say they do. Guys, it seems like we are getting bullish narrative after bullish narrative. XRP not being a security, the Bitcoin ETF being approved. Guys, to me, this is further confirmation we are in a bull market, and all the FUD being spread around is just creating dips to buy over the long term because the institutional bull run is here. Now, I want to move on and talk about something else, and that is whether or not we will see the Ripple SEC case end in 2024. And I really want to backpack my answer off of a brand new interview we saw from Brad Garlinghouse earlier today, because I think he really puts it perfectly in a very simple way how bad things have gone for the SEC thus far. I want to play this and then really break down exactly why I do think this case is going to end in 2024 and could even settle. First, though, listen up to this.
Ripple versus the SEC lawsuit. When do we get a conclusion?
Look, but most of it has been resolved, right? So the SEC filed a lawsuit in December of 2020, so just over 3 years ago, against me, against Chris Larson, and against Ripple. The case against Chris and Brad, myself, have been dismissed entirely. with prejudice, meaning they can't ever bring it back. And the case against Ripple, they lost on everything they cared about. I mean, their primary tenet was that XRP is a security. And in the Judge Torres's opinion, what she wrote is XRP is in and of itself not a security. So I feel very good about that. The SEC then asked for approval to appeal that decision, and that was denied. So, I mean, look, the SEC has lost consistently in this case.
So guys, I think Brad Garlinghouse really hits it home there. The SEC has lost consistently in this case. They have lost on their charges against Brad, they have lost on their charges against Chris, and lost on all the important charges against Ripple. They also lost on the charge that XRP was a security. The SEC has continued to lose throughout this entire case, and guys, that is not a short-term trend, it's a long-term trend. The more this case gets dragged on, the more the SEC is going to continue to lose. Will the SEC settle this case in 2024 or take it a distance? Guys, to me, it doesn't really matter because regardless, the SEC is going to keep losing. If they take it the distance, they're just going to keep losing, and most of Ripple's sales, right, will end up just not being securities, and they'll pay a small fine. To me, it makes a lot more sense that the SEC will take the win they can get and settle. If they settle this case, they can frame it like a win and get out of here with some dignity left. We saw in the Grayscale case that the SEC didn't choose to appeal the case. They decided to say, you know what, we lost. Time to lick our chaps and approve the Bitcoin ETF because at this point, we're just looking bad. Guys, I think the SEC is in damage control now. I think they realize how bad their litigation strategy has gone, how bad their attack against the industry has gone. And I think they're in a mindset now where it's time to say, you know what, we've been on the losing side of this. It's time to figure out how we can still save face as an agency. Guys, to me, the only way the SEC can save face at this point is to make a settlement with Ripple on the rest of the charges, because what we have learned is the long-term trend is that the SEC will continue to lose and lose and lose. And guys, I'm not sure that's something the SEC can afford to do at this point. We'll have to see what happens. The main reason I'm really not worried about it is because Brad Garlinghouse says it here. Every single charge so far, Ripple has won on. And guys, I don't think that's going to turn around anytime soon. It looks like if this case keeps going on, Ripple keeps winning. The only thing the SEC can do to save face in the slightest is to settle. Now guys, I want to finish this video off and talk about two big pieces of news that's going to be taking place over the next day or two. And that is one, that Brad Garlinghouse is actually going to be sitting on stage with the CFTC commissioner talking about the cryptocurrency industry. And guys, to me, this could be very, very exciting because it looks like to me the CFTC is taking over as the primary regulator of the cryptocurrency market. What we have seen is Ripple is very close to the CFTC and is on very good relations with them. So guys, one, this is a fantastic sign to show that, hey, the primary market regulator is a fan of Ripple. They're going to be on stage together talking about the cryptocurrency industry. Really doesn't get much better than that. And with XRP not being a security, I think it just shows that not every regulator in the United States has an anti-cryptocurrency stance. So this is going to be very, very interesting to watch. I'll make sure to upload the footage from this interview to the channel. But the other thing being, and maybe more importantly, is the hearing between Coinbase and the SEC. Guys, this takes place tomorrow, and Coinbase is trying to get the entire case against the SEC completely thrown out. This is going to be fascinating because if Coinbase really can get their case against the SEC thrown out, guys, the SEC is going to be in a very, very, very bad place. Guys, this Coinbase case was kind of the SEC's last hope. And if they lose on this thing big, or if it gets thrown out, essentially they are going to have no other choice but give up on their ambitions of taking over the cryptocurrency industry. So guys, tomorrow is going to be fascinating. And if this case does get thrown out, I think Chad's right here when he says we will see a turbo button hit on crypto regulation in 2024. Guys, if the SEC just keeps on losing and losing and losing on their theories that these crypto tokens are securities, then it's just going to prove to the regulators that the SEC is completely out of line and they need to draft legislation fast to make sure these markets have the appropriate regulations. Right now, the SEC is proving that these markets do not have the appropriate regulations. They're not securities, and the SEC does not have jurisdiction over this industry. But guys, losing to Coinbase tomorrow and getting this case dismissed would be probably the last slap the SEC needs to get their hands off of these things. So guys, this is going to be super interesting, and it's really going to define 2024. Based on what I have seen so far, 2024 looks like it has been surprising to the upside. surprising to the bullish narrative. So I am actually expecting Coinbase to at least get a partial win here, and for the SEC to once again be told you are not allowed to regulate this industry. These things are not securities, and so far you have had no allegiance to the law. You are only using these cases to further expand your own jurisdiction in a regulatory land grab. Guys, let's see what happens, but tomorrow will be a very big day. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. It really does mean so much. And for now, Mickle out.